been camera shy for a while. 3 guesses what? Yeah, I failed walking up some stairs and face planted spectacularly. Smashed my glasses. So I think in the last video I was actually talking about how my glasses were Liberty as well. The last video that I aired from this point, this isn't coming out for a while, so I don't know why I said that. That was the Liberty video. I gushed about Liberty 150 year anniversary. I'm still loving Liberty. I've got 2 more Liberty prints. I know I said in that video that I left buying Liberty fabric. I then did alteration to Harry's Obi-Wan Kenobi outfit, and I hate cotton double gauze with a passion, though I did read somewhere to sew it with a stretch needle, and oh my god, that makes so much difference. Treating it like a stretch even though it's not. That helped, but I hated this thing and the amount of hand sewing to get the look. Invisible hand sewing that he wanted me to do. Yeah, he owed me. He bought me more Liberty fabric as payment, as a thank you more than a payment. Ignore that. We're going camping next week, and that's the duvet with the duvet cover on that I haven't found a home for. We bought another duvet because it got warm, and we were like, let's buy a lighter weight duvet, and now I have no room for the duvets, but it'll be fine because we're buying a house, so soon I'll have more space. I am rambling. I haven't been on camera for so long that, like, it's been a month, I think. I have new glasses now. These glasses are only, I picked them up Wednesday or Friday, so like this is only day 3 of wearing them. I have it in my head that I want a denim jumpsuit. I've had that in my head for a while, that I'd like a denim jumpsuit with a zip up at the front. I refuse to buy denim because denim is so bad for the planet in that it takes so much water to make a pair of jeans. It's an insane amount of water. And if you go to like Levi's and some other places, I think will tell you this, they have a reduced water up to, I think it's 90% reduction of water, and how they do that is they recycle denim, because denim doesn't break down. Like, it's natural, well, the cotton denim is, but even the natural fibres, because it was such a sturdy material, it doesn't fully break down in like a normal amount of time. Like other garments will, but denim doesn't. And so people actually go into like mines and stuff in the States and find denim, the jeans that these workers were wearing, and yeah, they're worth a lot. Believe it or not. I won't buy denim. I have collected a load of denim jeans from family members, mostly my sister. I do have a couple pairs from my dad as well though. I was like, I'm gonna make a patchwork denim jumpsuit. Been holding on to that idea. That's in the back of my mind. I have everything ready apart from the zip for the front, because I've now decided I definitely want to do a zip front, a bit like the is it Lucian Yak ones? But I want full length, which is why I won't buy Lucian Yak. I don't like the 3/4 length or the 7/8. So I want a patchwork full length denim jumpsuit. And then we went to Liberty's for the 150th anniversary, and I saw this patch, which is Liberty front of the building. I was like, oh, that would be really cute on a denim jacket or a patchwork denim jumpsuit. So it went from just patchwork denim to, wouldn't it be cool to sprinkle in some Liberty print throughout? Now, Liberty cotton is a lot lighter weight, so I will be interfacing it with iron-on interfacing, but I didn't buy all this time, don't worry. This is what I bought when I went to Liberty's, because it's got glitter on it. I don't know if you can see it. Will the camera pick it up? There's glitter. It's glittery. I've never seen glittery Liberty fabric. I bought 2 meters of that. That's what I'm actually gonna tackle right now, but put that down for a minute. Hubby bought, I have seen this print and wanted this print for the longest time. We actually got this from eBay and we got it for £20 a metre, so it was about 2/3 of the cost, so it was definitely cheaper than buying it from Liberty itself. And yeah, he cut me enough to make another jumpsuit, but I'm not doing that one right now. I will do that before I do the denim one, because I want to incorporate offcuts of these into the denim one as well. So these 2 need to be made first, but for this I'm literally going to do the pattern as intended, with one exception. I hate facings. They lift up, they roll, they bunch, don't like them. So that's the change I'm making here. Fully lining it, and I think I have enough of the navy pillowcase from when I did my Snoopy Liberty dress left to line that bodice If not, I'll just go buy another pillowcase. Like I said, I only got 2 meters of this, so this is a remake of the Snoopy dress. But I really want to do, I don't know where I got this idea or why it's stuck in my head. I want to do a scallop neckline and slightly more open, so more like a boat. And because I'm doing that, I feel like I can get it over my head. So I'm going to move the back zip to the side to make the whole scallopy thing easier. And these are my offcuts. So, well, mostly when Harry was buying the Caesar print for me, I spotted just a small remnant of this for sale. This is, I can't even remember what it's called. I loved this when this came out. I was poorer when this came out, so it didn't get bought at the time, but I could justify a £6 remnant to incorporate into this jumpsuit. They don't produce it anymore, so I'm going to get a bit of it in the jumpsuit. Offcuts of Vine Feath, Strawberry Feath, so they're the two 70s-ish dresses. This was a blouse that I made. I bought this at the Knit and Stitch show at Ali Pali. The only time I've been, what year would that have been? 2023, I think. And I loved it. I love Ironth. It's one of my favourite prints. And when they did this version, which was all extra floral, and this was my favourite colourway, and I didn't buy it at the time from Liberties. I was in the States, I couldn't afford it, and I was like, I regret not buying that one. And then I went to the Knit and Stitch show, and they had a vendor called Sewbox, and Sewbox specialises in Liberty fabric, and they have all sorts of other Liberty fabric that you wouldn't necessarily get from Liberties, which I find interesting, but like fleece, you can get Liberty fleece from them. We were at the table looking at it. They had a lot of pre-cut, 3 meter pre-cut pieces, and I was saying to my mum, the one I've regret not getting was the Ironth floral. And as I said it, my eyes landed on a roll, because they did bring some rolls, a roll of it. I was like, I need this in a blouse. So I bought that then and made the blouse. I don't know if I've worn the blouse on screen. I should. I'll get it out. Snoopy is the only other one in here. So that's all the different ones I have in here. I do have one more Liberty garment that I made with a pink version of Ironth, so very similar to that. I think it's slightly smaller in scale. I've not found the scraps. I can't imagine that I used it all, but I equally cannot find the scrap. I haven't dug through the 2 major scrap bins I have in this thing. I don't want to right now, but I will before I start the actual denim project, because it'll be a shame not to get like all of my past project scraps involved. Right now, I want to work on this. Probably not going to cut the fabric out tonight. I am still very, very tired from the head injury. So my plan is, because being creative does help, it helps improve my mental health and all of that. What I plan to do is trace the bodice pieces and see if I can change the neckline to what I want it to be, which is the scallop. I cut it out wrong. This is the sewing line that I've drawn and cut here, which is fine on the paper pattern, absolutely fine. But that's not the way you make a scallop. I don't want to cut this shape. Don't bother trying to cut like a seam allowance around. It doesn't work. It's way more complicated, way more fiddly. You get uneven scallops. It's not the way to do it. I am going to show you the best way to do it. At least the best way I know how to do it, and you can apply it for neckline, hem on the sleeve, hem on the skirt, whatever you want. You can use this method, but it does require a lining. So if you're doing, well actually, if you're doing like a hem on a pair of trousers or a skirt, you don't have to do like the whole skirt lined if you don't want to. You can do just like a separate turn up essentially. It's a facing in theory if you're going to do it like that. But I'm going to line this one, and I'm going to show you the correct way how to do it. Neatly pinned it to the edge. I haven't pinned this edge because we're not going to cut down here, because like I said, this is the sewing line. Instead, we're going to cut a scant seam width away from the tops. I'm going to cut the rest of it out to the line, obviously including your notches, because the rest of it is normal. It's just this neck edge that's different. Hi, random stopping point. I wanted to make sure I had enough fabric to cut the dress out. I need enough fabric to cut the whole thing out, and obviously I know I do because I made this dress literally a couple weeks ago for me anyway, in the Snoopy fabric. And remember I put that picture up where it just fit. The skirt just fit. Why have I got so much space here? I know this looks weird, but I don't need the seam allowance here because I've moved the zip from the back to the side, so I can cut that panel in one. And right underneath you can see there's the front. In fact, I think I could literally just cut 2 front skirt panels. I think they're identical when you remove that seam allowance. I've got so much space compared to the Snoopy fabric. I have cut out every piece, I'm pretty sure of it, both skirt pieces and the other bodice pieces, apart from these 2, out of my fabric. And I've got, what, not loads, but like, I've got a yard. Did you measure it wrong? I bought 2. I only paid for 2 meters, but it's cut up now, so I can't measure it to check. But yeah, the Snoopy one, turns out it was only like a meter wide, so it was only a meter by 2 meters. So you can make this dress, if you're a size 14 or smaller in Vogue patterns, with 2 by 1 meters. That's hardly any fabric. Our stitching line. When I was drawing these lines, these scallops, the front just fit so easily. It was like boop, 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 didn't have to think about it. It was so good. I was like, oh great, maybe I'll get lucky and the back will do the same. No, it didn't. I redid these a few times, and that's what all this maths is on here, and even that turned out to be wrong. You're going to take your outer fabric, you're going to do right sides to right sides so you can still see your drawn area. And I honestly do think this is easier without attaching the sides first. So now that I've stitched it, we're now going to trim, just as you would with any point. You want to snip as close to it without getting through the stitching as possible. Now the good news is none of this should be particularly load bearing in terms of getting it on and off. All I'm doing is clipping to corner, and then I'm going to trim and then clip. Now they're all clipped, I'm going to turn it the right way through, making sure to push out all those scallops, and then, because it's crucial, I'm gonna understitch all of them. And for this I'm gonna do this by hand because that would be insane to do on the machine. Yeah, oh no, I like that. Look good. Finally getting on to the topic that this video was meant to be about, and that's that jumpsuit. So to get the look that I want, I'm actually going to pattern mash 2 different patterns together. Now they're both completely free patterns. I actually paid for the first one from Topstitch Pattern Company back in the day, but it's now available free from the creator. Shout out to @HeatherMade. And the other one is from Mood Sewing Community. They have a load of free patterns, and there was actually a couple that would have worked for me. I chose the Cherry Jumpsuit for our bodice to pair with the Florence Jumpsuit trousers, which I've made several times and I know fit me really well. So I cut out the trousers first and then measured the paper pieces to work out what size I needed for the Cherry Jumpsuit bodice. Why this is just 2 pairs of jeans and the little offcuts that I had. That's all the bits that I can't use. That doesn't look like anywhere near enough, and that's got, this pile is like the pockets, like they're the pockets I'm gonna sew on. So this one I'm gonna put some Liberty fabric and stitch around it. This one I'm gonna put the facing as Liberty fabric. I've got 2 of each colour, so I want to see what it stands out on most. It's kind of glued to this. That's what it'd be on the dark, that's on the light, and that's on the mid. I'm thinking that one. Oh, I'm liking the light. Yeah, I think it just gets lost on the other two. I mean, comment below what you think, but I would have made this choice by the time you see this. I've just been kind of messing around, so my pattern piece is sat underneath this. Yeah, I think I'm going to need a lot more rectangles, but I'm really happy with how that's looking, so fingers crossed I don't lose my sanity on this, because this is going to be really awesome once I've finished.
I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but I'm patchworking completely with flat fell seams, you know, those classic jean seam that you see. Some places I am leaning into that frayed look, so I'm just double stitching down those edges. But yeah, there's a lot of stitching going on here.
Don't let the same outfit fool you. This is day 3 or evening 3 of doing the front left leg. Is this the left leg? I don't even know. Yes, it's the left leg. Front left leg. Just the front left leg. Not the whole leg, not the whole front. Forget about the bodice. I had one full and one partially used and a bobbin. So I've got a full bobbin now. I've just filled that up. I've not done any actual seams yet. I was thinking, should I put a different thread in the bobbin, but like I do think for the integrity and the strength and like the longevity of this item that you want the denim thread or the same top and bobbin thread. So I've ordered more. I can't remember if I've ordered 4 or 5, and I'm now thinking that that's not enough. My local haberdasheries don't stock denim thread, at least from my memory, but also when I checked at least Hobbycraft's website, they didn't stock it, so I have to order it, and I ordered it from Minerva. Minerva is a fantastic site, but Minerva, when did you change your free shipping from £25 to £40? Because of course I bought fabric to make up that price. Plan of action, because I haven't got that much thread left, I'm gonna have to wait for that delivery, but I can obviously continue deconstructing jeans. I only deconstructed 2, but I've also cut into one really haphazardly and randomly. That's still like a jean. I just opened one leg because I really wanted some thinner strips that I hadn't prepped, and I've already used way more printed fabric than I thought I was going to, which I'm glad at. I'd like the printed fabric in there. I just need to make more rectangles of that. It's also chaos in here. So I already have a small space to deal with. So when I'm messy, I've just this scrap bag on top of like my cut pieces that are now no longer neatly sorted. That's the pocket that needs to go on that. I literally am sitting over that. That's the scrap bag. That's the bigger pieces. This is the jeans. So what I think I'm going to do is small wins. I'm going to cut that out, maybe then go around and reinforce these seams, because I'm probably going to cut through some, so I need to reinforce all the ones that I do cut through. Dart, pocket, and then that's the front left leg ready to sew. I underestimated how much thread I had. I've run out, and I didn't get the pocket on. I just reinforced the stitches, so I can with confidence say 4 spools is not enough. The postman has come and I've got 5 more reels of thread. I still don't think this is enough, but we'll go with this for now and see how far I get.
Lot of boring math later.
Okay, all that maths really hurt my brain. I went for a size 18. I think it was pretty much perfect for like the back, I think, but then the front it was somewhere between a 16 and an 18, so I went for an 18. What I have done though is taken the 1/2 inch seam allowance that mood patterns include 1/2 inch seam allowance. The pattern that I'm doing is a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, so I've taken out of the bits where they have a zip up the back for some reason on this, so I've taken out the 1/2 inch seam allowance on the back piece and the collar, because I'm going to cut those on the fold. I'm not going to patchwork the collar, I'm going to do that as like one solid. I think I'm going to do denim on the top and fabric underneath so I can like pop the collar. Snoopy can't go under the collar in my opinion. I want him more visible if I'm going to use more of this, so I don't want that as the collar. I could do that under the collar. This is a real chunk of fabric, like I've got enough of this to make something else I feel, so I don't really want to cut into that. This, again, look at this significant chunk. I feel like I can make something out of this. I wasn't going to film myself patchworking, hence my hair's just, I'm hot. This is hot work. The fabric on the inside of the pocket you're not going to see, so it feels like a waste using, say, the bigger pieces of the remnants to fill it up, but also it's a waste of effort patchworking. So I was thinking about digging through the stash and seeing if I had a plain bit of cotton, but I know I do, but that cotton could be used for lining for other projects, and so I want something that I won't use anywhere else. And that's where I had the idea of these really teeny tiny scraps. Essentially you can lay them out on a piece of fusible interfacing, because I was going to interface this anyway, and then iron them down, and then to really secure them you can then stitch over them. But yeah, I'm going to make my own piece of lining out of the really tiny scraps, because the point is this is a scrap project and I want to use up as much bits that I couldn't sew into something else. Tiny bits that won't go into any other project. Pocket update. So I've attached it so you can see where the pocket opening is here. And this bit will be seen, but this will not. This is the lining of the pocket. But I kind of like the fact that I know that it's all recycled scraps and it's still all the same Liberty fabric. It feels really nice that that's the piece. I have already put the dart in because I found that a little bit easier. I'm going to carry on patchworking down. I'm getting fed up of flat felled seams though already. The decision fatigue is going to be immense on this one. Like, yeah, like I said, I love sewing. I really love sewing, and I love the look of patchwork. I think it's the repetitiveness. It's the same, like, I work as a research scientist, I do lab work, and I love lab work. I love being in the lab, but I do hate it when I get stuck on the same experiment again and again and again. Like, I used to do a lot of protein purification in like my previous job, and you just always need more protein, so you're always doing the purification, and these protocols can last like 2-3 weeks, and so you're just doing the same thing on repeat. Maybe it's that, maybe it's the repetitiveness. Maybe I like the speed of sewing because you have different things throughout, like you're seeing the progression maybe, but patchworking, I know it's still sewing, patchworking is a bit slower and more repetitive. I think that's why I wanted to do the really random style of patchwork. I do understand that doing like regular shaped squares and like doing them in lines would have been quicker, but I think that would have bored me more. I feel like this is at least keeping my interest. And I did remember something about the pattern bodice I wanted to check. I want the bodice to be an inch longer than the normal bodice I usually use for this pattern, so it actually hits me on my natural waist. I was originally, and I didn't do this, going to take out 1/2 inch of that inch rise that I put in the trousers. I figured if I need to, I could raise it from the top. It does mean the pocket openings will shrink a little bit, but not too much, I don't think. But equally, being denim and being so thick, I actually think that extra space in the rise might help with the fit. We'll see. We will see on that. I'm actually going to move on to the bodice in terms of patchworking. I'm not doing it tonight. Bodice next, the front bodice specifically. And then I think I'll actually assemble the front, insert the zip, belt loops, that sort of thing, just because it'll be easier. be easier to wrangle under the machine if it's like all flat at that point. Then I'll move on to the back legs and the back bodice and the sleeves. And how I'm going to do it, I'm not going to sew up the sides until I've got those sleeves heads in, and then I'm going to do this, join the sleeve together and all the side seam all in one go, including the inseam. The inseam won't be in one go, but like the inseam will be in that. I think that's how I'm going to put it together anyway. I think that'll be the easiest, and because it's such bulky material, you can't ease it as easily as, say, a satin or a cotton even. Like, it is cotton, but like it's a denim weight cotton, so it's a lot heavier. As to what weight it actually is, like what weight's denim am I using, I don't know. I've got, I think now, 5 different jeans contributing to it. I'm not saying whole pairs of jeans. It's a whole pair of dark jeans, a whole pair of light jeans I have cut up. I took a strip out of a light pair, so I started cutting that one up, but they're not fully cut up. The mid blue jeans, that's where it gets interesting, I suppose. So the mid blue, I had some offcuts from when I did Harry, his denim jacket, and the other denim jacket that I did last year. And then I also had a pair of mid blue dungaree shorts that I've made myself from an old pair of jeans that my dad had. And this is very much when I was starting my own exploration of upcycling, I suppose, of clothes. They never fit properly, and I never wore them. They sat in my fabric stash the whole time. I didn't even put them in my wardrobe. So yeah, instead of just sat there, never going to be worn, I have started cutting into those as well. Might as well get them used. I do have one more pair of mid jeans that I wouldn't mind using. However, my dad painted in them, and I would have to avoid, I wouldn't have to, but I'd prefer to avoid the paint. So we'll see if we need to, we'll see. So far, I think 2 pairs of light, pair of dark, and 2 pairs of different mid. Not whole jeans, like I said, but yeah, at least 5 pairs, because I'm not even sure the offcuts I had were from one pair of jeans. That could have come from a couple pairs. So at least 5 pairs of jeans denim has gone into this jumpsuit. I'm glad I decided to add in the scrap fabric, because originally I was going to do all denim, and I think because I've only got like the 3 different tones, I might have lost my mind trying to, like, in some places it touches, and I'm okay with it touching in some places, but I think it would have overwhelmed me wanting to separate the colours too much. But yeah, I think I'm getting the balance right, and or at least right for me. It depends how you feel. Hi, happy Sunday. Back to it. This morning I ironed this on. That was hard to say, and then I've also hand stitched it, so you can see that. I've obviously also changed the size of this pocket, because this is going to go on the chest there, so you don't want it too big. So hopefully I'm gonna, it's 2 o'clock. Like I said, it's Sunday, so can't do a late one tonight. I am hopefully gonna bash out the 2 front pieces. They're much smaller, obviously, than the front leg pieces. So hopefully I'll be a bit quicker, but it's much of the same of me laying stuff out and then patchworking it down from the top down. The bodice pieces are much longer than the original, the designed bodice pieces for this pattern, so I'm just going to cut them as normal. I might even have to take some out, but we'll see. I'm inserting this metal zip when you've got the 2 front pieces flat. It's much easier to do it that way. And because it's a metal zip, I thought I would put a sort of facing behind. Though my animation skills are very amateur, I thought I'd give it a go to try and explain what I'm doing here.
First, right side's facing you, place the zip on top of the facing and then flip your front piece and pin, matching those edges, and stitch along. Press open and press under that facing to encase that raw edge and top stitch that down. The second side is very similar, except you've got an extra piece. One, you have that facing to encase that raw edge, but you're also going to have kind of like a fly to back the zip against your skin. This piece you want to fold in half, wrong side to wrong side, and press before you assemble your sandwich, and that needs to go between your zip and your facing, but the rest is exactly the same.
Hello, it's Monday. I have spent the evening patchworking. This is the back bodice, so I'm about to cut it out. And this is the first piece that I've actually cut. I've patchworked much bigger than I need, which is good. I think it's because my pattern piece is cut on the fold, so it was like hard to gauge how far I needed to go. But yeah, so I'm about to cut that out, sew in the darts, and I think I might just attach it at the shoulders straight away to the front bodice piece.
Order of construction goes, first we need to put the darts in that back bodice piece, then we can sew up those shoulder seams, still using those flat fell seams. I then construct that collar, turn it through, top stitch it, and then attach it to that neck edge. Here I'm taking advantage of the fact that I cut the denim on a overlocked edge, so instead of turning it under and then top stitching from the outside, I'm just letting it lie flat and top stitching from the outside. That way there's less bulk and the edge is finished already. Lastly, I'm stitching those sleeve heads into the armholes.
I am devastated. I made that sleeve piece, I patchworked it a bit too big and cut it down to the pattern as I have been. So far, it's worked. But this is why you do mock-ups. That sleeve is way too tight. Like, I could just about get a 2/8 of an inch seam allowance on it, but then would that be too tight and too uncomfortable? Do I want to add in, I don't know, if I panel in, but then the cuff's not going to look right, so I'm going to have to take the cuff off and make the cuff wider. So yeah, I'm really going to have to think on that tonight, how I'm going to fix the first sleeve and then how I'm going to do the second, because I want them to look like they match, but apparently a size 18 doesn't even fit around my this is why you should ignore like pattern pieces, like pattern sizing. It's nonsense, because the rest of it, in fact, if anything, it's a bit loose around my body, which is fine because of the type of style that we're going for. But yeah, I am absolutely devastated that that sleeve does not fit, and I've got to come up with a plan to fix it. But it's bedtime, so maybe I'll dream of the solution. The sleeve is too tight. What I did was I actually measured my elbow. So I bent my elbow and measured around there, because ultimately I need to be able to move. So the sleeve needs to be at least that. And being a thick material, denim is thick, I want it to be a bit looser. So I've decided to add 2 inches. I think 1 inch would have been enough, like for normal fabrics, but being denim, being patchwork, having those extra seams, I added 2 inches to give myself a bit more ease and a bit more space. I have taped and extended the pattern. It does mean I need to cut out brand new cuffs. I also have unpicked the cuff off the sleeve. That's fine for sleeve number 2. I can just patchwork it like that. However, I need to add essentially a gore. I suppose it would be a gore. I've essentially made a pattern. That's the seam allowance. I've held it up against there and it looks like it will work. So I'm going to cut 2 of these. I thought about potentially doing rectangles and overlaying it so it doesn't look like there's suddenly a triangle there. But it just didn't look like it was going to work out. And it's under my arm. Like, it's not a very visible part of the garment, so it's not really going to visually detract from it. And probably the wisest thing is go through the bits I've cut off and see if I can't try and get one out of the offcuts. I think I might just do that off camera, and I'll show you when I'm done, because I'm still a bit annoyed about this. I'm sharing my mistake, but I'm not showing my mistake. Yeah, well, let's get into the point where I don't know which bit's which. Right, this is the sleeve. So you can see the little triangle gore is in there, and I actually think because it's patchwork, by the time you've actually sewn that, you're not even going to notice that under the arm. I really don't think you will. I need to recut the cuffs because I've basically got to add 2 inches because there's an inch at either side of that sleeve. So originally I had these as my cuffs. I do have enough of this one to cut another one of these, but that's it for that one. I don't have enough width. So I'm still going to use these. These are going to actually go in the patchwork pile to go patchworked into the legs. So they're not going to get wasted, don't worry. So I had a few choices. I have obviously a chunk of that still. Don't know what I dropped. A chunk of that still. And a decent amount of this one. Like I said, I had enough of this pink one to cut another one out. I also have enough of the other ironed fabric, the floral one, but I've used this under the collar, and I kind of really had it in my head that I wanted the 2 cuffs and the under collar to be different fabrics, so because I'm going to add to that patchwork look and almost randomness and not be like too matchy. Now I haven't included much of this fabric because this is literally all I have left of this. This is my Liberty Snoopy fabric, and I love it so much that I didn't want to waste it. So the parts that I've included were like offcuts of it. This is like the biggest solid chunk that I have. But I can get a decent cuff and still have a decent chunk. So I've decided, with Harry's help, that yes, I'm going to take the leap and I'm going to use Snoopy as one of my cuffs. And I'm going to go with this one as the other one. I really like that as a contrast. We're there. This is the last spool of my denim thread, and this is the first of the back legs. I've just got to finish sewing around these bits and securing these down, and then one more panel there, which I am doing as a whole panel. But then I do need to add the pocket and the darts. I could probably put the darts in with a different thread, but like pocket, darts, and then all the side seams, the inseam and the hem. So I don't think that's enough. I'm on the last patterning of the last piece, which is the back left leg. Had to look at it to remember. I'm on my last thread. I don't think it's going to last. But I go away in 2 days for a week and a half. Kind of, it works out. So even if I bought some, it's not going to arrive in time for me to finish this before I go. So kind of a toss-up. Is the thread going to run out first? Am I going to get the leg done first? I've nearly finished the fabrication of the back leg. I've just had to refill my bobbin, and I can't see the white there yet, so we're not doing too bad. I still don't think I'm going to have enough though to finish this project. This is probably the weirdest try on, because obviously the inseam and the side seams aren't done, but the rest of it is. Like the zip is in, the pockets are all on, the collar's on. I do want to put on belt loops, thinking one either side on the front and then 3 along the back, which is kind of normal for jeans. I think I'm not wearing jeans, I'm wearing dungarees. I think that's normal for jeans. I might go get a pair of jeans out and have a look. I have a domestic machine. I am using a denim needle, which is the right thing to do. And I haven't broken a needle yet, but belt loops means I'm going through denim that's folded over like a tri-fold and then looped over. So that's 6 layers already, and then whatever this is as well. So depending on where they are, like on the pocket bits on the front, that's another at least 2 layers. So up to 8 layers of potentially your denim. I might have to hand crank that one. I've just tried it on again now that I've sewn up the first seam of the flat fell seam on the inseam, if that makes sense. So it's wrong sides to wrong sides together and just done a 5/8 of an inch seam around there. It's looking good. I'm really happy. I am getting to the point now though that I want this done. This is when you're making your own fabrication, and I think because I had that week, just over a week off in the middle because I went on holiday, and yeah, it's just, I'm ready to wear it. I want to go wear it. It's not so much like, oh, I just want to get this done now. I want to wear it. I want to wear it out. So I need to trim and do the second flat seam of the flat fell seam, the second half, hem it. I think it's going to be a minimal turner, like maybe an inch, and then last tiny little bit because everything else is actually done. These are the cuffs on the sleeves and they're not tacked down, so I want to hand tack those down, but I can do that whilst watching TV with my husband or something. So I actually think we're kind of done filming here, so the next thing you're going to see is the reveal. Busy pinning my sleeve, and then my knight in shining armour walks in.
It's not very shiny though. It's pretty dark.
It's a bit shiny.
Yeah.
Frogs.